Hello and welcome to another one of my videos. I actually spent all of yesterday in a coffee shop plotting out videos for the next 6 weeks. So hopefully with a bit of luck and a bit of motivation I can actually be more consistent with putting out content. I kind of realised that it's a love-hate relationship and I do want to put out more content. It's certainly not for the dollar a video I get, but I need to get back to my roots. Today's video I'm going to be going through 2 trades. I have plotted content concerning talking about the market and how the market works, and including a wider spread of topics such as the tax system, why it doesn't work, and also the wider implications of the UK economy. For my international friends it might not be for you, but equally you might find it interesting. Who knows? So yeah, I was offered 2 trades. I'm going to take this off the table. I'll go for the first trade. So a gentleman come up to me and he said, I got 2 coins, what they're worth. And I told him, and I said, I'd aim for this price. And he said, would you consider a trade in stamps, in first class stamps? And I went, yeah, of course, not a problem. So we end up trading for 60 stamps for these 2. I actually think I've done okay. It hits the metrics I need for a business, and ultimately it moves postage. So I'm in a really weird position with the postage where the prices have dropped. There's more traders in the market wanting to get the margins out of stamps, and I just thought, you know what, I'll use them, because I've got to the point where I've used enough of the stamps I had in my reserve that was booked at 100%. that I'm now onto fresh stamps where I'm taking from the stamps I would have sold. So every stamp I use is incredibly lucrative to me. Now there's going to be people who see this video and say, well, can I have free postage? And the answer is no, because I don't need to do it, but equally it took a lot of energy and effort to build this side of the business. So sorry. But yeah, I'm at the point, if I use 1,000 a month, orders like this are incredibly useful to me as a trader. Nothing special about this. This one's going in the pot more than likely. I sent a load off for grading recently, and it's going to sound very counterintuitive, but I'm just trying to bulk up on my knowledge gaps. You know, if I spend 300 odd quid grading coins, but then I know exactly what I'm looking for, then fine. Is it economical to do it? Not really. Am I that bothered? Not really, because knowledge is invaluable and I know what I'm doing moving forward, but also they're going in my collection, so I don't mind doing it. This one will be for sale. This is a nice coin, Isle of Man Angel, 2016. I think this was maybe the first year. If I'm wrong, feel free to leave it in the comments when this was first made, but it's a relatively new coin. I guess it is relatively new when you think about the pandas, the Brits, etc. I'm pretty sure I remember when this first came out and it was close to the start of my trading career. Who would have thought that? I only did it for beer money. It wasn't meant to be a career. So yeah, those 2 come in. I also had another trade. Do you remember in the last video I had 12 sovereigns and I said the bulk of them were sold? 3 of them, Three of the sovereigns, I already had a home for them. There was a gentleman who was just like, I want to trade some bars. Do you want to trade for sovereigns? And I went, yeah, I'm always up for trade if the numbers work. Now, understandably, as a dealer, I've got friction costs. That is what it is. There's nothing I can do about that. But it worked out to about a smidge over 97% that I paid him. He then said, can I sell some bits to you? And I went, yeah, I'm paying 97 across the board. That's where I'm at as a trader. I never thought I'd get to that point all those years ago. And it's not a case of wanting more margin. It's a case of you trade for that, or I'm not buying it because the margin isn't there to support it on the other end because of the prices going so high. It's an incredibly strange market at the moment, and I will touch upon it in another video. So I end up trading these for 10, 20, 25 grams. So I'm happy about this because it moves these. So it's working in my favour just to get these types of trades in because I make it on the postage. So as long as the numbers stack up, I'm using potentially 2, 3, 4, 5 lots of special, and it adds to the bottom line. And I think with where the market's at, these are the type of trades I need to go after. There's not a lot of money because there's a lot of traders at the moment, but if I can use the postage in scales of £1,000 and up per month, it's really going to bring home the bacon for me, and it's really going to add to the goals I have. Although ironically, I've stopped counting how much I've earned this year because I surpassed my total. I surpassed it a long time ago. I just stopped counting. It's okay, but I want to get rid of the postage because I don't want to sell it cheap. If I sell it cheap, it's not really worth doing it. But if I use it, you know, fantastic. Best of both worlds, if you ask me. So yeah, I traded those for the sovereigns. He then asked me about this. So this is year 2000 Jersey Sovereign. I believe this is William the Conqueror. Someone said something about that to me on the last video. I don't know. I'd have to double check that. So he wanted a trade for this, and I said, okay, I'm buying gold if you're selling. I'm buying silver if you're selling. And he said, I've got some gold I want to send over as well. Can you just square it off and then we'll work out the differential and settle? I went, okay. So he ended up sending, and I didn't know what he sent. He didn't know what he sent. It made me laugh. He was like, oh, I can't remember what I sent you. And I went, okay, I'll film it. Don't worry about it. 20 Corona. I quite like these. These are restrikes. I'm not a fan of the 100 Coronas. I had a few in my time and I got to the point I just didn't want to buy them. There was a 10th ounce Cougar, I believe. I think it's a Cougar. I'm trying to find where it says. Doesn't say. Okay, I think it's a Cougar. If it's not a Cougar, it's not a Cougar. It is what it is. And there was also a 5 gram Republic Metals Corporation. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't it RMC who got done for fraud? Or have I confused that with someone else? I know these bars were very popular when I first started trading. They were very popular. Don't really see them now. I could be wrong. I don't know, but this has got, it looks like testing marks. I don't think it's been open though. Looking at the packaging, it might have been. One sec. Packaging looks fine. Copper spots maybe. It doesn't matter. It's got red marks on it. There's going to be people saying, well, aren't you concerned? Not really. Turn it on its side. You see enough of them, you know what 5 grams looks like. I can understand people's hesitance though. Like, I've realised as a dealer that every, I'd say 18 months, there's a new wave of people buying. And you go through the same questions over and over again. And where these people are not familiar and where these are so expensive these days, like a bar like this is a £500 bar. Crazy we got there. Of course they're worried. I've had it angled at me in the past to say, well, why don't you test your stuff? And the brutal reality is most things that look suspect, I do get tested. I do test them. But the bulk of things you know just by the feel of it, the weight of it, you know, and the eye appeal of it. You know, certain things you look at and you're like, that looks a bit moody, whether it be a bar or a coin. But then I've gone through millions and millions of pounds worth of stock, so I can understand why people are hesitant. I think the rule is if you got, well, for me anyway, the rule of thumb should be if you got over £10,000 worth of investment, maybe get it checked out, you know. But if you've only got a couple of grand, there's no point buying a piece of kit to get it checked out. You might as well use someone else to check it out. It's all about perspective in my eyes. Now, going through it, in terms of my favourite, What do I like from this batch? I'm not going to say the silver dollar. Everyone knows I've got a soft spot for them. I like the Degussa. It's nice. Classic. Don't see many of these around. This is also nice. I'll go for the Degussa. I hope you enjoyed the content. I will make an active effort to put out more content over the next 6 weeks. I really want to nail that down. I've been so hit and miss, and I think YouTube is part of my DNA. It's part of my brand, and it's not always good that I just go missing. You know, it's bad when you've got people who buy and people who trade with you, and they're like, "Are you okay? What's up?" You know. So I do need to do better, but I'm not gonna force it. I just have a plan and hope that I can stick to it. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the content, and I'll see you on the next one.